Wrapped in a thick, dark green armor covered in leathery spikes, this fruit can weigh up to 22 pounds. Its exterior looks like a relic from the Cretaceous period, a defensive shell built to survive the harsh conditions of the tropical canopy. But inside that heavy, aggressive casing, the texture changes completely. The core is packed with a snowy white, fibrous pulp that pulls apart with the consistency of wet cotton candy. This pulp carries a massive sensory profile, a tart hit of pineapple, citrus, followed by the sweetness of strawberry, and a thick banana coconut creaminess that has made it a culinary icon across the tropics. This immediate sensory contradiction, the prehistoric armor shielding an intensely sweet, fragile interior, establishes the soursop as a unique anomaly in the rainforest. But the plant's profile shifts again if you look past the edible flesh. Hidden within the pulp are dozens of hard, jet-black seeds, while the bark and leaves of the tree contain a very different set of compounds. These parts of the plant are loaded with a highly targeted cellular poison. It is a chemical weapon designed for high-stakes defense against anything that tries to consume it. This creates a strange botanical paradox. The same organism that provides a sought-after tropical delicacy also carries a potent neurotoxin. To understand why a tree requires such heavy chemical defense, we have to look at how it manipulates its environment to reproduce. As dusk falls over the jungle, the soursop flower begins a highly choreographed cycle. The tree uses a mechanism called protogenous dichogamy. Its female organs mature and close before the male pollen is released, a timing trick that makes self-fertilization physically impossible. To pull in outside pollinators, the flower releases a heavy, fermented aroma of rotting fruit. This scent is a specific chemical signal tuned to attract nocturnal scarab and sap beetles. This diagram shows what happens next. The flower undergoes thermogenesis, a metabolic reaction that generates internal heat, raising the chamber temperature up to 15 degrees Celsius above the ambient jungle air. As the beetles enter to feed on nutrient-rich tissues, the thick petals clamp shut. The insects are trapped in a warm, protected microclimate for the duration of the night. At dawn, the flower enters its male phase. The anthers release their pollen, coating the trapped beetles before the petals finally detach, and release the insects to carry that pollen to the next receptive tree. By physically trapping its pollinators and using heat to boost its scent, the soursop ensures its genetic survival in an incredibly crowded ecosystem. Pollination is just the start. Once the fruit begins to grow, it needs an active defense system to prevent herbivores from destroying the seeds before they mature. The plant produces a class of molecules called Annonaceae acetogenins. The primary weapon in this defensive suite is a compound known as annonaceae. If an insect tries to feed on the tree, merely crushing the leaves releases peppery terpenes in annonaceae. For a small organism, the result is near-instant paralysis. This animated diagram illustrates the mechanism at a cellular level. Inside the mitochondria, annonaceae targets the electron transport chain, which is responsible for generating the cell's entire energy supply. The annonaceae molecule binds directly to a structure called complex 1. It acts like a physical barricade, stopping the flow of electrons dead. This blockade causes ATP production, the cell's fuel, to plummet to zero. Without energy, the cell's internal machinery fails and the tissue dies. To solve the problem of seed dispersal, the tree relies on giant fruit bats. Bats eat the safe, sweet flesh, but swallow the toxic seeds whole. Protected by a hard outer shell, they pass through the bat system and are dispersed harmlessly. This chemical strategy allows the soursop to recruit seed dispersers, while lethally punishing anything that tries to digest the seeds themselves. When modern science began investigating the soursop's potent chemical defense system, the compounds were moved into a laboratory setting for testing. In petri dishes, the results were clear. Annonaceae could shut down the energy production of cancer cells, killing them in a controlled environment. But these isolated lab results were quickly stripped of their context. They fueled a massive internet myth that promoted the soursop as a miracle cancer cure, promising a natural alternative to chemotherapy. The danger of this myth lies in the gap between a petri dish and a human body. In a living person, the same mechanism that kills cancer cells doesn't stop there. It targets healthy tissue with equal efficiency. Annonaceae is highly lipophilic. meaning it binds easily to fats. This property allows the toxin to cross the human blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the brain's high-energy tissues. In regions like the Caribbean, where soursop leaf tea is often consumed as a traditional sedative, this chemical accumulation has real-world consequences. Over time, the toxin starves neurons of their energy supply. Chronic exposure leads to an irreversible neurodegenerative disorder, sharing the same symptoms as Parkinson's disease. Ultimately, the soursop is an ancient organism that survived through extreme specialization. It is neither a miracle nor a threat by design, but a highly evolved biological system that demands our absolute caution.